No droids, no bounty hunters, no Raylos. No fans of Mule Face. We don't do that around here. We like Jon Favreau's ideas on Star Wars, not Kathy Kennedy's. And interesting developments. So, you know that earlier this week, Sunday, a memo from the new big boss, or the main big boss at Disney, Bob Chapek, came out. And it has caused a tremendous stir with the professional financial guys we know and the film people we know. In fact, one industry insider told Cameron Pasha he had never seen, that works at Disney, he'd never seen a corporate memo from the leadership written like that. Okay? So, this is huge. Hey, Troy. We will not fight against the fans anymore. Admitting the last, Iger took over Disney in 2003 or 2007. 2012 is when all this shit started. All right. At least in Star Wars fandom. Hey, John. So, when he said we will not work against the fans anymore, we will not be against the fans anymore, we're not going to do things that they don't like, was a big slap to Iger and slap to everybody he allowed to do it. And we all know who we're talking about with Lucasfilm. And it was very interesting to me, Cameron predicting that we were going to start seeing nukes. Yesterday he was on Midnight's Edge. And then Sci-Fi for You, or me, with Jason. And he basically predicted that it was going to happen fast. Chapek purposely put the date of his contract's end in the memo. Okay. That was A, to see who was against him, and a red flag in their faces to see what they would do. And B, it was a warning. We were moving fast. Okay? We are moving fast. Do not look at him to not get his contract renegotiated and for another 5 years or whatever. And the reason simply is this. He is there because the people who invest money in Disney want him there. Okay? And from what I can see, he is doing all of the right things, regardless if you think so or not. He is. So let's go further. Okay, let's get into this. Predictions are nukes would start to drop. Last night, I get a DM from Tom Connors with this story. Paramount to develop Children of Blood and Bone by Tommy Adeyemi. Wait a minute. Nowhere in the article is mentioned Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy, who are developing that book. There are 3 possibilities. Either the author made an agreement saying you will develop it in this amount of time, and the time ran out and she took the rights back, or, and I think this is much more likely because I can't imagine Kathleen Kennedy allowing her pet to just leave without a protest. Her pet project. And that's what this was, by the way. Chapek, God, I gotta stop saying Iger. Chapek got a hold of the president of Paramount saying, will you buy this from us? The first part of the Deadline article says there was a bidding war. Last time we heard about it, which was October, when Kennedy was on the PGA video talking about it, We thought, hey, it's being developed by Disney and Lucasfilm. It went from Fox to Lucasfilm. So what happened between October and now? Yeah, I mean, it was, I mean, and this is the rub, and I'm, you know, so either, hey, Radford, either Chapek called Paramount and said, take this from us, we'll sell it to you or whatever. The author took back the rights, which I don't really see that happening with Kennedy. She really wanted to make this. Or Chapek dropped it. The phone call to Paramount, I can see. Chapek dropping it, I can see. Okay, but this is a big deal. This is, to me, looks like an opening salvo to what is about to happen at Disney for everybody. Okay, it means, and it does mean, that Kennedy no longer is in charge of Lucasfilm. It's going great, Jonathan. I am like, when Tom sent that to me, I read the headline and I was like, well, well, well. This is the chickens coming home to roost. All right. 2019, she shows up with this big green screen board. You got the acolyte down here. You got brats of blood and snot up there, whatever. It's supposed to be Nigerian, West African folk tales, mythology. Oh, I agree, John 42. But when you look at the author, she is an absolute, I mean, she and Justine Ireland should get together and have a family. They're children of the same cloth. Okay? I'm not kidding. All right. So when I looked at it and I said, sure, it's West African mythology, but it doesn't fit with Star Wars. When you've got her talking about the children of blood and bone, and she's talking about how it fits with Lucasfilm, it doesn't. It doesn't. And it doesn't fit in Disney. It would have been better at Fox Searchlight, which was an entity that Disney got when they bought Fox. I don't know, Jonathan. I'm just taking this one day at a time. And I'll get a little bit into more of my feelings about what's off about the Book of Boba Fett. I like it, but there is something off. Okay. Yesterday's episode was, I think, 7 out of 10. But let me get into it. So it didn't fit with Lucasfilm. It didn't fit in Disney's normal family friendly. You know, it's one of my subscribers said it sounded like Encanto. Yeah, Encanto with a lot of anti-white rhetoric. All right. And I could not be happier seeing that this thing go away. All right. I'm going to say this. I seriously doubt that we'll ever see the light of day. All right. The reason, now there could be several reasons why Disney and why that information, because I'm going to tell you, when that was announced in 2019, that Kennedy was taking it for Lucasfilm, everywhere. This thing was everywhere. Okay. It was in Deadline. In fact, if you're a subscriber to Cameron's Patreon, Troy, if you can get a link to Cameron's Patreon, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. I'm like, he said they still have the article about Lucasfilm developing this thing. It's still there. Well, they wrapped production last summer. So, I mean, that's where it is. I don't, what, you know. So, the information is there that Lucasfilm was developing the Children of Blood and Bone. Okay. That now, in this article, that Paramount took it after a bidding war. Thank you, Troy. Hey, Star Wars Theology. Um, what bidding war? Usually, when you read the trades, you see Warner Brothers and Universal and Paramount and Sony Pictures, Disney, blah blah blah. They're all going after it, trying to get the options for this. Okay, what bidding war? They didn't. It doesn't say any, who the companies were. Okay, that's the thing. We all know that Disney Lucasfilm was developing it. Now they're not. So, hey Anton. So I sit back and I look at this and I go, Chapek basically said, we're letting this go, we're getting rid of it, find a company to take it. Or they let it go and Paramount scooped it up. All right. Now, why wasn't Disney, Kennedy, and Lucasfilm mentioned? Well, gee, they dropped the option? How racist and bigoted. I mean, that's the way morons think, okay? But most people in Hollywood, aren't exactly the sharpest knives in the drawer, okay? And hey Anton, so I'm like, okay, but this is an indicator that Kathleen Kennedy is not running Lucasfilm anymore. She's got Indy 5. It wraps at the end of the month, from what James Mangold said. So we'll see. You know, the next domino to fall will probably be the Acolyte. You know? Oh yeah. So, and if you scroll up in the chat, please, if you haven't subscribed to Cameron Pasha's Patreon, do it. It'll give you an inside idea of what is going on in Hollywood. The feeling from inside Disney, at least from what he was told, is that this was a nuclear bomb. And now we got the first strike. Thanks, Troy. So there you go. So what do we look at looking forward? Kennedy could be there until Indy goes out is released. She could be there just for appearance's sake, but we haven't seen her. We haven't seen her since October. She's not in London. I mean, she might be. Frank Marshall hasn't posted anything on his Instagram in a long time since Peter Bogdanovich died. Okay, so this is a big deal. All right, they're either in London pretending to be producers, or at least she is, and he's actually doing the job, or he's just not on Instagram right now. He's busy. All right, I mean, if you look at what's on his plate, he's far busier than she is. Okay, he's got music documentaries coming out. They're working on getting Michael Franzise's book into the story of his life into production. So it's going to be really interesting going forward to see where what happens here. Okay. So we got all that. And I'm going to say this, when we got the news Granted, it's a rumor, but I don't see anybody else coming forward to do it. That Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are now in charge of Star Wars Lucasfilm feature films. Star Wars. Okay. That tells me leadership at Lucasfilm has already been decided. Okay. And I think, and I'm going out on a limb here, I'm told I'm wrong all the time. I don't care. Jon Favreau is taking over as president of Lucasfilm. I don't even think she'll show up for those. Oh, cool. People are subscribing to each other. It's awesome. And I want to say thank you to all my new subscribers. I woke up this morning and saw a whole bunch more, and I couldn't be more thrilled. Thank you. We are on our way to 2,000. Okay. And I'm going to be very happy. I want to get over 2,000. That's a goal. Okay. That is a goal. So going forward, we'll, you know what I'm saying? We'll see where this all goes then. But thanks for subscribing and thanks for coming on board. I'm having fun with this. It's really interesting to me seeing this all happening. Everything. Thank you, Star Wars Theology. I got 30 more subscribers to get to 2,000, and I think I can do that by the middle of next week. I could wake up this morning and tomorrow morning and see it's over already. All right. Sometimes it happens that way. All right. So please. Anyway, the monthly meetings, who's going to show up? Is it just going to be Filoni? Is it going to be Favreau and Filoni? Is Kennedy even going to bother? These are things we have to look at. Is she in London? Because Harrison, I guess, is in London now. Yeah, you're right, Dave. I mean, he's the one basically running the Star Wars Lucasfilm franchise. I prefer to see him actually producing Indiana Jones. All right, I really would, because Harrison, and he has made a movie with Harrison. They know each other. There's mutual respect. And Favreau has a real care, I think, for his actors. And he has like this club of people that hang out with him. All right. Like I'm gonna go back and finish watching to finish watching this movie called Chef that he made in 2014, and the subtext of it is kind of a rant against the executives at Marvel who got in his way when he was making Iron Man 2. And we all know that Iron Man 2 was not as well received. And there's also some anti-Twitter stuff, which is really funny. And the hilarious thing is John Leguizamo, who's a Twitter troll, was bitching about Twitter. And it's like, really? Okay. But in the movie, Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, Sofia Vergara, which I don't like her. You've got Dustin Hoffman. It's just a very interesting movie, and it's a Jon Favreau movie. I mean, if you've seen Swingers, you know where I'm getting at. Okay. You know where I'm getting at. So, well, the Disney Parks fans, there are a lot of people out there, and at least a couple I know understand finances. And yet they don't want to admit that Disney's in financial trouble. And that's the truth, okay? That is the truth. And it's very difficult for them to understand that. And it's like, fine, whatever, guys. Just you go do you. You know, Chapek has got a lot on his plate. It's not only fixing what Iger broke there, because Iger's the one that gave the okay to Galaxy's Edge being the shithole that it is. And Iger's the one that said, fine, the cruise liner can be all this stuff. Hey, coach! I got a 7-Up Zero here for you. You know, Iger's the one that did that. It is not Chapek. This is Chapek. And and also Susan Arnold going, you know, you're only as powerful as your investors want you to be. And this is where I think Chapek has got it covered. He didn't put that memo out to make everybody feel good. That was the least feel good video or memo from a person in that position I've ever read, and I've read a few. I've seen stuff from my former boss, the congressman I worked for, that were much more rah-rah, you know, with all the subtext of, you know, caramel corn, okay? This was, we have 3 commandments. Subtext was, if you don't do what I tell you to, if you're not on this team, the door's that way, or I will squash you like a panini bread, okay? And that's the truth, all right? That's exactly what that was. There are a lot of people out there saying, yeah, it is scary AF. It is. I mean, if I was sitting there at my desk in Dick Armey's office and I read that, I'd be like, oh, fuck. I hope none of the kids heard that. Because that's the nuclear bomb going off. Okay? I'm going to tell you what I expect to see. We're going to hear the Acolyte is no longer being made. Leslie Headland thought that she was making a Star Wars thing and that Brie Larson would be in it. She was supposedly attached. Brie Larson is not attached. They get this no-name actress whose name I can't remember in this role. She's black. She's LGBTQXYZ. And they think she's safe. Hey, Polly, here's the deal. Susan Arnold is a lesbian. But Susan Arnold is also in the financial world. All right? Who do you think pulls her strings? She came from the Carlyle Group. Okay? That's like coming from the banking clan in the prequels. Okay? All right? They make money for presidents like George Bush and Barack Obama and William Jefferson. And I don't think Donald Trump has his money invested with them. Maybe he does. But still, these are big dudes, okay? She was one of them. Honestly. I don't know if they're going to try that. When I looked at what he said, the shows that are kind of like for everybody don't really do a lot. And here's the problem with Disney streaming. You got Netflix. Netflix is this giant entity. Netflix has been doing this. I mean, they've been in the distribution of films for a long time. I had a Netflix subscription, ordering movies for forever. Okay, they don't do that anymore. They have a streaming service. They've been doing that for, I can't remember when it started, but they've been at it for a hell of a long time. And Disney was up against the wall when they decided to do this. If you look at what Sony's doing, they're putting feature stuff out there. They're making content that can be going on to Netflix. Okay? Maybe they'll make a deal with Amazon. Maybe they'll make a deal with Apple. Okay. I don't see it. Oh, you're welcome, Star Wars theology. I don't see how Disney starting this streaming service, they have all this content. They have all of Fox. They haven't done anything with Fox. Anything. They've got Fox Searchlight. They haven't done anything with that. They've got Hulu, and they've got the streaming service for ESPN. ESPN is probably the only thing that's really drawing people in. Okay. But you've got all this for Disney. It's a 100-year-old company. Okay. None of the new stuff is what draws people to you. Okay? They didn't have anything going in. The only thing they had, and the only thing they had, was Mandalorian, and it drew people to it. People loved it. Then they had Mandalorian season 2, and they were bringing in Marvel. The Marvel stuff started. Thank you, Misha. I don't really think the Marvel stuff really lit anybody's pants on fire. You know, you've got WandaVision, you've got Loki, which pissed people off. You got Falcon and the Winter Snowman or whatever, Snow Eagle or whatever the hell that thing was called. I can't remember because I'm not interested. And that was kind of, and now you've got Hawkeye, and everyone's like, meh. It is not the fact that there isn't any content for Marvel. They were prepared. It is the fact that it was SJW, boring, and made the fans upset. Okay, Kevin Feige taking himself way too seriously. All right. He has what I call Spielbergitis. When Steven Spielberg won his Academy Award for Best Director and Best Picture for Schindler's List, then he started like, God, I'm really great. And if you go and watch Raiders of the Lost Ark, when you watch Raiders of the Lost Ark, you get the feeling of joy, of pure happiness, of the joy of creating to create, with a great story, a great cast, a great group of guys and gals to work with, and doing something, two friends, George Lucas and Spielberg, that was high end, but fun. It almost reminded me of the two guys I used to know in high school who both wanted to grow up to be Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. And they would make their own movies. One of their dads invested in a camera. And they would run around the campus pretending, with a script and doing all the stuff and get everybody. I never did it because I was like, I don't want to do that. And I should have. I would have had fun. I was asked. But it was it was like they got all these kids together and they got the best looking guy in high school to play the lead. That's it. That's how fun it was for them. You get Spielberg into Schindler's List and it's like, I'm an auteur now. I mean, when I look at people like John Ford, who I think is the greatest director that ever lived, he never would have thought that about himself. He was a serious filmmaker, but he didn't take himself that seriously. And the moment an artist starts thinking like an artiste, that's when everything goes like that. We got Schindler's List, we got Saving Private Ryan, and then it just was like, and I think Feige, bought the woke folk stuff, and I think he screwed up. because of that. He started taking himself too seriously. We have people in charge of Lucasfilm. Kennedy is a political hack. She was foisted J.J. Abrams onto her to make The Force Awakens. You got an uninterested Larry Kasdan. You got J.J. who didn't really want to be there. I'm a Star Wars fan. No Star Wars fan would have made that movie. I don't care how much money it made. When you look at that movie, it is literally the beginning of the end. Okay? Then you got TLJ. Written, first draft was the one they filmed, written by a guy who thinks he's David Lynch, or, think about it. It really, I really think about it. I mean, Ryan Johnson takes himself way too seriously. He's, or was, with a woman who's a huge feminazi. And I'll get to that. Just let me finish this. Then we get JJ back, who, after the movie came out, The Rise of, was like, I know it's a bad movie and you don't have to like it. I mean, at least he was honest about it. He wasn't calling fans names like Ryan Johnson. This is what Disney needs to do, and this was public without mentioning it. What happened with the Children of Blood and Bone. This is a public rebuke of Kennedy. And I think this is how the club is saying it. Saying where she really is with her career. She couldn't even get Disney to move on that. All right. Now, if we get The Acolyte canceled, or somebody else buys it and it's not Star Wars anymore, then we'll know for sure. We'll know for sure. But this is another thing. If Disney, and I've said this before, wants fans to know how serious they are about what Mr. Chapeks said, really wants them to believe it and to slow the black pills down, they need to be public about who they're letting go. And we all know who they're cutting ties with. I want, Chuck Wendig had no problem saying I got fired. I can't imagine Jason Ward being told, you are no longer part of this. We are no longer sharing any information with you. And then him publicly seeing he got stuff from, being let go, and others. All right. There are tons of people there that need to either be fired or the severance needs to be public. Geek Girl Diva, Brian Young, Steele Saunders, Star Wars Explained, Hello Greedo. Okay. They are as bad as the people inside. And, all right, that former social media person they had at, Lucasfilm, who was trying to find fans to talk about what was bad about the fandom because they wanted to make a better fandom. What? And now we've got somebody new there. All right, she got fired. We didn't hear about it. We should have. The fans need to know you're serious about what you're doing, so make it public. Let us know. We will be grateful, okay? You will give us stuff to talk about, all right? We know the PR lady left. She retired. She's one of Kennedy's defenders. Now there's a guy who's doing PR for Lucasfilm who is from Disney. He was there and put there by Alan Bergman and Bob Chapek, okay? All right? That's a big deal, okay? Where did Andy Gutierrez go? That would be nice too, Matt Piranha. It would be really nice if, they're talking, they have Favreau on a BTS behind the scenes thing, and George walks in and sits down and hangs out and talks about the latest project and how he was involved. Okay, that would be nice. All right. Where do I think the Book of Boba Fett is going? Now, I'm going to say, I've said this before, I'll say this again. I like it. There's a lot of lore being explored. That big black Wookiee is from the EU. Okay. There's a lot of questions like, well, how did he just get into the palace and invade Boba Fett's, chambers and get him out of the Bacta tank? Somebody let him in. Who was it? I think it was Fennec Shand. Okay. Or one of the Gamorreans. Or one of the Bomar monks that are wandering around. They're in almost every shot of the palace. So obviously there's a message that's going to be carried on further. Okay. Where do I think this is going to go? Well, we've got Boba gathering minions with that swoop bike gang. So, and a lot of people are, my problem with them is that they're not dirty enough. They should look like urchins, not like high-style punkers that are going into CBGBs in 1977, okay? Which is what they look like. All right. Oh, I know, Dave. So that was a problem. Now, I like the vehicles that they're bikes. It's reminiscent of a lot of George Lucas's ideas on it should be industrial, it should look lived in, it should look old. They look very vintage, but like cherry vintage, like in cherry condition. They should look beaten up, all right? That's a problem, but the story is what I'm concentrating on. And I think that's what we should all be wondering what's going on. Where I think it's gonna go is, all right, first off, the Wookiee, the Rancor. The Rancor. That is not a gift. Hutts don't give presents to people. The only presents they give to you is either a bounty on your head, torture, and death. The gang was imported from Coruscant. That would actually, or Corellia, that actually would make sense. I don't know, but all right. So the Rancor's there. You've got Danny Trejo as a trainer. Now, he says that the Rancor will bond with its human master. Boba Fett's not his master. He is. What was the reason why he had him stand in front of it? All right? And what was the meaning, the subtext of, don't worry, he'll be back? Oh, I agree. It was like, why would you? And I think it was like, I think it's going to be a lot of people's on Tatooine. Okay. But that Rancor is going to end up not being a present until Boba basically has to tame it. There was an interesting rumor out there that and they showed actual, I think, paintings or like concept art of Boba riding a Rancor. Okay, so maybe that's it. Maybe he actually does take the Rancor from Danny Trejo and trains it. Yeah, and I honestly think Danny Trejo is playing a bad guy. I do. I think when he said that, when Fett left, it was, again, if he had gotten the Rancor from Leia and Han, that's a gift. But he got it from the Hutts. And Hutts throughout the lore are selfish, greedy, evil, and conniving, scheming, plotting, Machiavellian. Okay, these two want Tatooine. They want Jabba's holdings. My question is where's Jabba's son? Where's Rhoda? Okay, he disappeared. We don't know where he is. He might end up being a factor. Then we've got the Pikes showing up on in force. That'll be interesting. See, what is going on is that the Hutts put the Rancor in as a Trojan horse. Then we've got this Machiavellian, let's sit back and see who wins thing going on between Boba and the Pikes. Okay. If you notice, there aren't any Clitonians around. We didn't get to see what he did to them yet. But before Black Chrysanthemum shows up and pulls him out of his Bacta tank, pulls him out of his Bacta tank. Where's my? He had just had that flashback going back to the village and seeing the carnage with another big Huttese K written on the side. Okay. Yeah, Kennedy, they're Jon Favreau is my husband's age. They're the very first generation, X generation. And when we have a chance to actually go off on somebody, we do it. We might do it subtly. We might do it in their face. That was an in your face from him. Okay, and Robert Rodriguez, and who I think probably just did what they wanted him to, and Dave Filoni. I mean, for all intents and purposes, the direct head of Star Wars is Dave Filoni now. Okay, but I honestly think that Favreau is running the overall show with him. I just do. But what I think is going to happen is I think there's going to be a massive fight with the Pikes. We're going to see what happened to the Clitonians maybe in the next episode. I was hoping the flashbacks would be over, but they're not. And I think that the Hutts are going to come back into play big time because of the Rancor. And Boba's not going to be happy with that. And there's supposedly another syndicate. The only one I can see coming in, and it's been rumored, is Prince Zizor is coming to live TV, and the Black Sun, which in my opinion would be very cool. Okay, I like that character. I like that idea of the two really big syndicates going after each other. And the Black Sun will just be, that would really be neat. So maybe it's them. I don't think it's the Crimson Dawn. I am not at liberty to say anything right now, but there's going to be a lot of big surprises coming. Not having anything to do with Boba Fett. But there's a lot of retconning with certain characters happening, recasting, etc. And it is magnificent in our eyes. This is the day that Lucas has made. Anyway, so I think at the end, the New Republic is going to have to get involved. Yeah, I do too, Polly. And I think we're going to see Han Solo and Chewbacca. Okay. I think they're going to get off the Falcon. I don't think that, when we see the Falcon, everyone's going to lose their shit. It's going to have the nice round dish, because I know they're going to change that. I hate that. That rectangular dish triggers me so bad. And you'll see what I love about this scene I envision. You see the ramp coming down. You can see two shiny black boots standing on the ramp as it comes down. You can see furry legs behind it. It's like, oh my God, it's Han and Chewie. All right, now I'm going to address Doomy's rumors one more time. Hear that both Han, Chewie, and Luke and Leia were going to be in the last episode. If Leia shows up with no Ben Solo, but she's pregnant, it's not Ben. That's not Ben. Ben was already born at this time. Okay? So if we don't see baby Muleface running around, I'm just going to look at the Reylos going, God, where's Ben? And they'll go, oh, she's pregnant with him. No, she's not. Not according to canon. No, this is a retcon. Okay? It has to be done. Oh, cool. It has to be done for the simple reason is it's a better line than what Kennedy and the story group thought of. Now, let's go back to the memo, and then I gotta go because I gotta make some lunch. And I'm hungry. Here's the thing about the memo, and I gotta take down this, the last thing. Yes, Coach, I told you I'm in the middle of taking Christmas stuff down. I have a lot, and I'm the only one who does it. So, when the memo talked about going against the fans, we're not going to do that anymore. I envision the High Republic going away. I think that is finished. I envision a lot of the people who are involved with the story group on the outside being let loose, like those authors. The contracts will run out. They're not going to be renewed. Go away. And I see the story group. I thought they were disbanded a long time ago. They don't have a lot to do anymore, but they're still there. And as long as they're there, it looks bad. To me, everything is what is the face you're presenting the fans? And if it's Pablo Hidalgo, the fans will be pissed. The fans like us. But if it's somebody else, and we know that they're gone, where's Andy Gutierrez? She's gone. All right? Nowhere to be seen. Okay? Miss Fanboy Tears Mug, coffee shot. Miss Luke with the red X through him. I don't know, man, Piranha. I might dig around on that one. If they do that, if they tell us what they're doing, if they give us something that shows they care, they're listening, these people are no longer associated with Lucasfilm, a lot of really negative energy will go. Okay? People will be able to breathe a little bit better. Okay? Woke Hollywood is finished. There still might be crap in the pipeline. But for all intents and purposes, Afterlife killed it. Dead. All right? Spider-Man No Way Home, which I haven't seen, and I probably won't because I'm not interested, showed that you can make a movie everybody liked with no woke shit. Okay? All right? There you go. So, my feelings on the Book of Boba Fett is I think they rushed it to Disney Plus too soon, and that's the problem. And also the hangover from Gina Carano. And I've got nothing but bad feelings about all that. I mean, cut me off from, I don't want to hear about it anymore. Okay? We're going forward. That's in the past. We're going forward. We have to think that way. All right? So, I got a couple of messages I got to get. I got to make some lunch. I will see you guys around the galaxy. Behave, be well. Check out my video from before. We've won. We don't know yet what the victory looks like, but I think we've won. This is Steph signing out. I'll see you around the galaxy.